We've been trying to make this video for a while, and sorry for the delay. Sean recently got some questions for both him and for me. There were a few for me that all had a similar theme of being about questions about preservation, so I'm going to try to answer the 3 questions in one swoop while Zelda's somewhat amenable to it. A couple of the questions the people that asked had definitely been doing a bunch of their own preserving and probably for a long time, so I don't know that I know more, but I can share what we do that we really like, that over the course of years I've kind of like whittled it down to certain things that are useful and gotten, you know, rid of things that I've done that we don't love. Hello. Hello. I thought I could try to go through the preserving season if I have the time, but I'll try to do it as succinctly and quickly as possible, and I have a feeling I'll leave out some vital elements, but I'll do my best. The preserving season for us really gets underway with collecting dandelion flowers and making dandelion wine. I do that every year because I really love it for risotto. That's exclusively more or less what I use it for. This is a bottle from 2022, but usually I actually don't even bottle them, and I use it with the airlock still in it, a pretty young wine. That's what I like for risotto, the still having present some sweetness, but that doesn't have sweetness anymore, so it's more of a drinking one, I guess. We also make other wines throughout the season. We make blackcurrant wine, which always seems to turn out very well. I shouldn't say that, because whenever I say anything does well, then the next time I do it, it doesn't. And we make red currant and, you know, try some other types. This past season we made gumi wine, and that actually turned out surprisingly better than we expected. This book is very helpful in the wine experimenting, so if you're into that, I would check this out. It's been helpful for us. Then I make every year a bunch of different jams that I use, usually making cookies and for like baked goods, less just on toast. Every year I make blackcurrant jam with honey. This one I steeped fig leaves in and used cassis that we had made. That is something we also do every or most years with the blackcurrants. That blackcurrant jam comes out of this book. That's a wonderful book also to look into. They have a blackcurrant jam with honey recipe in here, and I do what they say, except I use half the amount of honey that they say, and I send it through the canner, which they don't do in that book. Water bath canning. I just sterilize the jars and then send it through for 11 minutes, like you do for most jams, 10 or 11 minutes. Then this is random plum jam. I'll just make jams with whatever fruits we have in whatever given season. Then I also make fruit sauces. One of the questions was specifically about fruit sauce. It was someone wondering for their grandchild what we do for Zelda. We do applesauce, unsweetened, and this is with wild apples. The person who asked if I use an immersion blender, and I don't. I use the food mill, which is a tool I really, really love, and I use it for a lot of different things. I just cook the apples with the cores and the skins and everything, and then I send it through the food mill, and then I also send that through the canner, sterilizing the jars and doing it for 11 minutes in the water bath. And then sometimes I'll mix in other fruits, like this one I mixed in autumn olives into the apples, but just the same thing through the food mill. Then I make chutneys every year, which are really nice to have in the winter when we're eating like potatoes and sauerkraut and pretty much similar vegetables for every meal. This is one that I use the lees at the bottom of the wines that we made because they've got a lot of nutrition and other spices. And the chutneys, I just will look at recipes each year to kind of remind myself of the ratios between vinegar and sugar and the vegetable matter, and then I wing it with those. I feel comfortable with that, and then we get something a little bit different each year because I never am that clear on what I'm about to do. And then we make tomato related things every year, a lot of tomato related things, a lot of ketchup, a ton of ketchup, and I make honey ketchup, which also comes from this book. Sean didn't have an amazing attitude about homemade ketchup in the beginning of when I was going to start making it, but now for many years that's all we use and we love it, and we go through jar after jar of it. Yeah, so each year I try to make absolutely as much ketchup as I possibly can, and it requires tons of tomatoes that have to obviously cook way down, but it's very worth it. And then another one that we do that requires a fair amount of tomatoes that also have to cook down. Oh, and go through the food mill. Ketchup goes through the food mill, and so does this next tomato sauce that I do. Tomato passata, which is a recipe out of this book. It's a great recipe, and you can just vary the herbs. The American canning wouldn't let you probably make tomato sauce in this fashion, but this UK book does. I don't know if it still would, but I've done it for a lot of years and we love it. So I just put different herbs every time, and I also make as many possible jars as I can do of this because we use tons of it in the winter. I put it in lasagna, put it in soups. It gives a lot of flavor, that kind of thing. And then not for you, little child. Can I have you for a sec? Can you come up here for a sec? She loves the elderberry sauce. We'll take her foray into that and then come back to tomatoes, I guess. Somebody asked specifically about elderberries. One of the things we do is make elderberry syrup to try to keep ourselves well in the winter, and Zelda really loves this. And I just actually found a recipe online, and then I varied the spices a bit, and I steeped tulsi in the brew and gave a really good flavor. I'm happy to share the recipe, or maybe we'll make a video on it. But it's dripping all over her nice sweater her grandma made.
Her elderberry colored sweater.
Yeah, I guess it's good. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's good. In elderberries, we also dehydrate the berries. They last so well this way. This is from 2013, and they're still in perfect condition. You want to hold this yucky rag? You can. And then we also froze a lot of elderberries this past year with the idea that we'd make more syrup when we ran out on the wood stove in the winter when it's running. So we have yet to do that. Maybe we could try to make a video on that. And then back to the tomatoes. The other thing I do is just pureed tomatoes. So I use the food mill for that also, and those go through the pressure canner. And then I'll use tomatoes and chutneys sometimes. And then, you know, the ferments, we do sauerkraut and fermented hot sauce, which I think I made a video on both of those things in the past. And we do some other hot sauces and pickled hot peppers and dried hot peppers. And then we dry herbs for cooking and for tea. And in October specifically, we harvest and dry and process sumac, which I really love to have for cooking. We make and can bone broths in the winter, especially this winter. We've been doing a lot of that. We've been cooking it down on the wood stove and then pressure canning it. We preserve the miyoga ginger buds in vinegar, which I made a video on. We pickle bell peppers. That's also a recipe from this wonderful book. As you basically blanch them in vinegar and then pack them with whatever herbs you want and olive oil. But they have to be stored in the fridge or some other kind of cold storage. It's not a shelf-stable thing. Then we make fruit leather, mainly at this point with autumn olive, which I cook down and then add some honey and then put in the dehydrator in sheets. That's like this, and that's another good one for the kids. Okay. And we juice the sea buckthorn berries and freeze that and freeze the whole berries. And then we, store a lot of whole food, vegetables, fruits and vegetables in the root cellar. And I'm sure we're forgetting a good amount of stuff. Oh, well, pestos with the herbs, and then in the garlic harvest, in June, I'll pickle the scapes, although last year I didn't do it because we still have so many jars from previous years. I'll put them in soups and things, and we'll eat some, but not tremendous amounts. I like the scapes for pesto better, and also the dehydrated scapes. I did this actually some years ago and never used them, and now suddenly I'm finding myself using them a lot, so I'm putting them in soups and stuff. that seems a good amount for this video, and maybe we'll try to do some more. And I wish you the best for your preserving season, which is both fast upon us and seems like it's never going to come, like it's totally snowy outside. But dandelions will, I'm sure, be here eventually. Wait, oh, you want more of that? Here, you want to take you want to take what you want? Here. Oop. I'm happy to try to answer more questions if there are any, but yeah, that's all.